Liquidated damages, or LDs. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about what liquidated damages are, how we can look at it, how we can approach it strategically, and basically give us enough information to where we can properly navigate this. Now let me start out with a little bit of a story. There was a project that I consulted on. We went and helped them. There's a massive effort, massive project. And I kid you not, you think I'm lying. You're gonna hear this number and you're gonna say, J Money is lying to me, but I am not. Their liquidated damages were $40,000 a day. Now, liquidated damages are a pre-agreed on number, usually per day, of pre-agreed damages incurred that will be paid to the owner if the contractor and the team does not hit the beneficial occupancy date, which is typically temporary certificate of occupancy, TCO, or substantial completion. It's basically an incentive or a motivation for the GC to get things done so that they don't have to incur those damages. Now, liquidated damages, it's so funny. If you go to the Design Build Institute of America, the certification course, they'll be like, you never leave it blank. So if you're going to have it written down in your prime agreement that LDs are such and such, make sure a number is written in there. Don't leave it blank. There's another thing called consequential damages. Let's imagine that the building's not on time and you're renovating, like, let's say, a baseball stadium or basketball stadium or something like that, and then they can't have the game, and it costs, as a consequence, I'm just going to make it up, $1.5 billion, and the general contractor is liable for that $1.5 billion. Consequential damages are much more massive than a stipulated sum, a specified sum for liquidated damages. Almost every project, if not all, has LDs at the end from a contractual standpoint. Now, real talk, it's damaging, and I don't think it helps out. First of all, you're attempting to shed risk. Owners should adopt a mindset of, we're going to help and enable the contractor to finish on time. Let me give you an example. If an owner's like, hey, $40,000 a day, liquidated damages, not consequential damages, and it's written down there, but the owner did not enable the general contractor or the trades with the right information, with the right funding, with the right permits, didn't start the project on time, that's not fair. The other thing that happens is you enter into a downward productivity spiral when contractors feel rushed, pushed, and panicked. The best projects are stable with flow. So let me just say this. If you were going to be, let me just make this up, 2 weeks late on a project, but it was going to be in a stable flow, and liquidated damages are being shoved down your throat, and the owner's like, hurry, 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 and you start to work overtime, rush, push, and panic, bring out too many materials, get negative and toxic, add crews, you are going to hurt your productivity, extend the duration, and put the team into a very, very bad spot, especially from a morale standpoint. So you're going to hurt the project even further. The paradox in construction is that if you have a responsible team that's flowing, that knows what they're doing, you will finish earlier if you don't panic. If you take any team and you panic them and you attempt to move it forward and you rush, push, and panic, the project will end late. It's a crazy paradox, but that really is the situation that we're in. Liquidated damages is a contract provision that is supposed to motivate humans, but it does it in the wrong way because that's not how humans work, and it's basically a push system, and it's a part of our negative legal system in the United States and in most of the West. It's very, very detrimental. So here's my advice. If you're a contractor, you can't let that rush, push, and panic you. You will finish sooner the better you are at flow and stability and standardization. So keeping that in mind is key. Now, liquidated damages are a part of the contract, and your contract legally is whatever you agree to. So if you've agreed to it, you're all in with this. It's nuanced. Everybody affects the construction project, not just the trades and the general contractor. So here are some things to be aware of. First of all, the owner and the owner's rep is attempting to shed risk. That is the American system. I think it's toxic and it's unnecessary. Meaning that in other countries, the owner has most of the risk, so they do smarter things. They have better contracts. They implement lean construction scheduling. They implement TAC planning. They have collaborative contracts. They have incentives. They are more motivated to get the contractor information on time, right? So just know that this is something that you agreed to, and it's because they're attempting to shed risk onto you, the contractor. Typically, they're calculated as a daily rate. You already know that. They're typically triggered by substantial completion or beneficial occupancy, meaning when the developer or the owner wants to occupy or needs to occupy from a financial standpoint. Let's say that you're leasing out student housing or units or whatever. If that is released on time, then you know that you can start to move in occupants, and now you can start to recoup that money, and the owner or the developer starts to make money, okay? So here's the key. When you do a risk analysis of your project, I like to call it the risk profile. Let's say you have a substantial completion date of March 20th, but everything from a risk standpoint says that you're going to finish in April 10th. You can do two things. One, you can engage TAC planning and make sure that you hit the date with buffers. Two, you can hold to stability and standardization and really attempt to hit the March 20th date. Or three, if you're not confident with all of those other things, which I hope you are, you can say, hey owner, Mr. Mrs. Owner, here's your risk profile. We are targeting March 20th, but April 10th is where we should set up the actual trigger milestone for the liquidated damages, and is the date that you should plan to move in occupants. That is the best way, in my opinion, to consider the overall strategy. I don't think that if substantial completion is March 20th, that the owner should say we're moving in March 20th. That's not how construction works. There's also excusable and non-excusable delays. That's why you must have a really nice production plan. And in the industry, people use CPM. And the reason that folks like CPM is because an owner and an owner's rep, and I would say claims consultants and lawyers, love a schedule that nobody can tell anything about, and they can make it say whatever they want in arbitration to screw over whoever doesn't have the best lawyer. But the best actual way to do it is to have a visible TAC plan, and if there is a delay with inside the buffer system, it is clear that the contractors have used that. But if it is a force majeure type delay or an owner problem, it is clear as well, and it is excusable. So tracking all of those will help you to track the path from beginning to end to understand if LDs are actually warranted. And so you can either I can't be any more clear about this. Everybody will fearmonger and tell you that you must use CPM. It is absolute garbage. Lawyers and financial institutions love CPM because they can make it say whatever they want. You should use TACT last planner in the Kanban method if you actually want to see what really happened. In TACT, if there is a delay, we log it down, what the root cause was, where we're taking buffers from, and we're able to understand where the delays happened and why we might be past. And so if you compare the owner inflicted delays with the contractor inflicted delays, you can actually real time find out what the root cause was and settle liquidated damages. But here's the deal. The best way to do this is prevention, to run the job right with the correct lean systems and to maintain respect, stability, and flow throughout. And here's what I'll do. I'll put this into a blog post for you so you can have it top of mind, but this is the framework and how to think about it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. On we go.